Valve finally fixed the bug after 2 years. Astralis drop out of the meta. Zontex explains why he chose Spirit and the first matches of Blast London. Hello there friends, this is CS2 News Hub. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. We're starting today's episode with the same way we did the last one, with the new rosters. This time it's about Imperial Gamdom, who've decided to launch their own academy team. But here's the twist, there is not a single Brazilian player who made the cut. According to the academy's coach, he began scouting back in April, but since he was also working as an analyst for the main roster, the process just dragged on. Eventually he tested a bunch of players and picked the 5 strongest. And also, none of them were Brazilian. The roster will compete in Europe, so it will be interesting to see how this experiment turns out, or where these players go next. Speaking of new teams, well, the former FUT players decided to stick together and even formed a brand new team. The interesting part here is that most of them have been around the scene for years, or are simply older than the average pro, which makes their team's average age 30.7 years. Can you imagine? That's just like me. For comparison, FaZe Clan are often called the oldest tier 1 team, and they sit at just 27 years of average age. And yeah, that's excluding their coach, who's 41. Looks like this team just raised the bar for CS2 veterans. I wonder what they will achieve.
Hey guys, before we jump to the next news, let me just take a minute to tell you about our friends at ForceDrop. They're one of the oldest and most trusted case opening websites out there. These guys have been in the game for over 9 years. Whether you're into free cases, super cheap ones, or rare and risky drops, they've got it all. There are also tons of game modes to check out, battles, contracts, and my personal favorite, Upgrade, where you can turn a basic skin into a knife. They also run constant giveaways for those who deposit, with some seriously juicy prizes up for grabs. Plenty of deposit options too, including crypto. And if you use crypto, you will get an extra 3% bonus. And here's the best part, we've got an exclusive promo code for you, News Hub. Enter it on the site or just click the link in the pinned comment, and you will get a 40% bonus to your deposit, top-tier drops, and instant cash outs. That's what ForceDrop is about. Check it out and see for yourself.
Another French veteran is plotting his return to the pro scene, and this time it's about NBK. According to KRL, the famous insider, NBK decided to join up with Joko from X3D Max, alongside Hooxi and Chalky. The 5th player hasn't been locked in yet, but possible names include former FUT players Misuta as well as Nivera or Shogu. For now, there is no organization behind the project, or maybe there won't be at all, at least at the start. Looks like we're into the era of veterans who just want to give CS2 another run before hanging it up. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, guys. Let's leave those French alone. But we're not done with roster changes, because it seems that Wildcard will have some. Earlier this season, they tried to strengthen their lineup with players from their own academy, but that didn't work out well, so the shuffle continues. Recently, Wildcard showed some interest in buying out FiKo from OG's bench. If that happens, the team will become half Polish, considering Friend and their coach as well, who are also from Poland. Still, I really doubt that they will go and play in Europe, because, you know, they still have 2 Americans and a Canadian, and North American region is way more easier to qualify from. But whether this mix will finally bring results, that's the big question here. You can try and answer in the comments below. Talking updates, this one's about the game itself. After the latest patch, Molotovs finally work as intended. Before, if 2 smokes were lying next to each other and a Molotov landed nearby, the fire would automatically fizzle out, without even interacting with the smokes. CS2 had this bug since day 1, and nobody at Valve cared. But, well, now it's fixed. Suddenly, unexpectedly, and all that. So if your Molotovs ever looked like they didn't spread properly, it wasn't your aim, guys. It was was just Valve's spaghetti code. Now, as we've covered Tier 2, academies, roster updates, and even the game update itself, let's finally move to Tier 1. Recently, Hooxi was asked about Astralis' current form, and the Giga chat didn't hold back. According to Hooxi, the main problem is that Astralis have completely fallen out of the meta. Right now, the teams that win are either stacked with high individual skill players, or those that grind just non-stop. Astralis, on the other hand, have always been more of a tactical team, and that style just doesn't fit the current meta. Hooxi also added that there are no strong all-Danish rosters anymore. The country's talent is simply scattered across different stacks, and building a purely Danish powerhouse again looks almost impossible to him. Guys, do you agree? And also, does he basically agree that Astralis is not Tier 1 anymore? Correct me if I'm wrong. Speaking of problems and solutions, we just can't ignore Falcons, a team that never seems to be avoiding drama. The latest issue comes from NiKo. According to CS2's biggest hater, Loba, NiKo's main motivation right now is pure money, and with that mindset, Loba says this team can forget about ever winning a major. Loba even compared NiKo to Cristiano Ronaldo, claiming both love money more than the game itself, which is why NiKo ended up joining Falcons in the first place. Of course, Loba is never objective, but with Falcons' recent results, you can't help but wonder, is NiKo really playing for Falcons only because of the paycheck, or does he still truly believe in this roster and the game? I don't know, guys, I don't know. Continuing with the topic of struggles, let's talk about Team Spirit's early drop from EWC, and Zontex in a recent interview himself explained what went wrong. According to Zontex, the team gets tired too quickly, and after a big victory they simply lose motivation to keep grinding, especially when facing a team with a stand-in. As a reminder, Team Spirit were eliminated after losing to Heroic in the very first match at EWC, which had single elimination bracket. And here's a fun fact, Heroic's current Opper Alcaran is actually a former Team Spirit Academy player, while another Heroic star, Tanir, might end up in Spirit's roster in the future, as rumors suggest, and also HLTV. Oh, the irony. Now, as we're done with the news, let's break down the opening days of Blast Open London. I remind you that currently this part of the tournament is basically online qualifiers for the final LAN event. So this tournament kicked off with Vitality dropping Overpass to M80. And consider this, M80 were grinding a North American event all night with 100 ping. They went to sleep at around 4 AM to play at 11 AM in the morning. Zaivu and the gang still closed out the series, but even losing a single map like that raises questions, the same ones the players themselves hinted at. Next up, Virtus.pro lost again. No surprise considering their disastrous all-time win rate, just 31% across 22 maps. That's hilarious and sad. Then came FaZe Clan vs ECSTATIC, and you know, FaZe Clan dropped the first map, and it was not that good. Although on the second map they answered with a 13-0 stomp, and that was cool, and it was all about Frozen, who went full carry mode. The new addition to the roster, Jacob, isn't showing much yet, mostly stuck at the bottom of the scoreboard. But I guess he needs more time to adapt, right guys? The final match of day 1 was NAVI vs Fnatic, and the only memorable moment was a clean ace from Bit, and maybe Wonderful's op highlight, missing 4 point-blank shots in a row. Oh my god. Day 2 started with a shocker, Imperial smashed MOUZ 13-2 on Overpass. Outsiders picking the new map and betting favorites on it sounds like classic, but MOUZ still won the series. Although they ended up losing more VRS points than Imperial. Then Liquid vs G2 went exactly as expected. Liquid lost and Twist had an absolute nightmare. Like he's playing from North America, I don't know. Ironically enough, Liquid got here only because of the visa issues for the Mongols. You know, Liquid tried, but they failed in the qualifiers themselves. So maybe bowing out early was keeping it polite, you know? Next was Spirit vs FlyQuest, and it was pure destruction. The only real highlights were were Donk's pistol ace, and also the young star saying he's a huge fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. The last match of the day was FURIA versus Legacy, and as expected, the international team, FURIA, came out on top, even though they dropped their own map pick after failing to close it on CT side. Still, they proved stronger in the end, and Yikinder showed exactly why he deserved his spot. On day 3, matches were even more spicy. First, Fnatic easily knocked out ECSTATIC from the tournament, 2-0. Special mention goes to Cypher, who seemed to have played the game of his life with a rating of 1.92, which is very strong. We just really hope that one day he will maintain such a level in matches against better opponents. The second elimination match of the day was the battle between M80 and Virtus.pro, and... well guys, where to start? Okay, Overpass, map 1. VP easily took it 13-4, so the fans were calmed. It seemed that this would be a fast and easy game for Virtus.pro, but in the end, it was not. M80 fought back on map 2. They were good, no doubt, but it seemed like VP just lost to themselves. They were bad. On map 3, it happened again, pure copy of map 2, and so Virtus.pro were out in a blink of an eye against an underdog. Although, can you call it a surprise though, given VP's recent results? I mean, even the usually calm pimp was shocked. I thought my love for Counter-Strike was endless, then I covered 2 VP games in 3 days, and I immediately started to question my life. I don't know what it is, but VP just can't seem to figure it out. So much talent, so little to show for. And apparently, this result was the last straw for VP's management, because just a couple of hours after the team was eliminated from the tournament, the news broke. Electronic was benched, officially. The statement from the CEO, Nikolai Petrosyan, says that Electronic weren't able to build a team that could consistently fight for top positions at the biggest tournaments. Now guys, I mean, what a bench Virtus.pro has. Electronic, Norbert, Flamas, oh my. They can now assemble their own huge team. Right, Virtus.pro has not yet announced who will replace Electronic on the roster, but some players of course immediately started baiting. First, Tanir posted a bear sticker on his Telegram channel, but honestly bro, who are you even trying to trick? And then Kickert posted some eye emojis, maybe hinting at something, but maybe not. By the way, Fame and Flit have played 15 matches on FaZe over the past 4 days with their former teammate, Mir. We might be up for a legendary reunion? Well, anyways, tell us in the comments below guys, who you want to see Electronics plays. There were less drama in the last 2 matches, but they were still extremely exciting. First, Vitality kinda scared all the fans again, losing 1 map to GamerLegion, who fought bravely to be honest. However, in the end, Zaivu and his bros just advanced to Blast Lands, no big deal. But for NAVI, the road to London just got much more difficult, as they lost to FaZe Clan. 2 highlights here, Makazi really tried to pull the team out of the mess, but all his teammates literally switched off. And you know what else? Brokey showed an excellent game, becoming the best player of the match, winning a couple of clutches and doing some highlights. Can you imagine? Anyways, that's all for today my friends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, to follow our channel, and drop by in the comments below to tell us everything you want to. But we're not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.